I was 17 when they kicked me out of the only home I'd ever known. But they left me one thing on the property line: a locked smokehouse with no key and no explanation. They said it was useless, rotten wood, empty, not worth the walk. But every time the wind hit it, I could hear something inside shift, like it wasn't empty at all. I didn't understand it then. I just knew my uncle wouldn't look me in the eye when he pushed me off the land. "You're not family enough for this place," he said. And that was it. No warning, no second chance. Just dust, silence, and a door that wouldn't open. The land behind me stretched wide and dead under a gray sky. Fields of dry grass bent like they were tired of standing. The farmhouse windows watched me like closed eyes that had already forgotten my name. I had always felt small there, invisible in my own bloodline. My parents gone early, and the rest of the family treating me like a mistake that never got corrected. I used to avoid conflict. That was my flaw. I stayed quiet even when things hurt. I thought silence would keep me safe. It didn't. That night, I slept near the edge of the property under the old windmill. The smokehouse sat just far enough away that I could see it, but not reach it without being seen. And I kept wondering why they left it behind. Because if it was truly worthless, why lock it? Around 2 a.m., I heard footsteps on gravel. Not mine. I froze behind the windmill as a flashlight cut through the dark. My uncle stood near the smokehouse, staring at it like it was watching him back. He didn't open it. He just checked the lock. Twice. Then he whispered something I couldn't hear, and walked away. That was the first time I felt it. That something inside that building mattered more than the land itself. The next morning, I started working. Not because I had permission. I didn't. But because I needed answers more than food. I circled the smokehouse slowly. The wood was old, blackened by years of smoke, but the lock was new. Too new for something useless. There was a strange detail I couldn't ignore: scratch marks under the hinge. Like something had been forced shut from the inside before. That didn't make sense. And then I found the first clue. A loose plank near the base. Behind it, tucked into the dirt, was a rusted tin box. My hands shook when I opened it. Inside was a single document, folded so many times it felt like it had been carried through years instead of time. A land deed. But the name on it wasn't my uncle's. It was mine. My breath caught so hard it hurt. But before I could process it, I heard a voice behind me. "You weren't supposed to find that." My uncle. He stood there like he'd been waiting all morning. Calm. Controlled. Like I was a problem he already knew how to fix. He didn't run at me. He didn't shout. He just held out his hand. "Give it back." I didn't move. And for the first time in my life, I didn't stay silent. "Why is my name on it?" That stopped him. Just for a second. But I saw it. Fear. Not anger. And that was worse. He took a step forward. "You don't understand what that paper is." But I was already backing away toward the smokehouse door. Because now I knew. The smokehouse wasn't empty. It was hiding something. And whatever was inside was tied to me. I ran that night. Not away from the land. Toward the smokehouse. The lock was colder than I remembered. My fingers fumbled, but this time I wasn't afraid of being caught. I was afraid of what I might find. The door finally gave way with a long metallic groan. Inside, the air was thick. Stale smoke. Old wood. Silence that felt stored, not empty. And in the center was a second door. A floor hatch. My stomach dropped. Because I realized something simple and terrifying. The smokehouse wasn't a storage shed. It was a cover. My hands pulled the hatch open. And that's when everything changed. Below it was a small hidden room carved into the earth. Neat. Intentional. Almost preserved. And inside it was a desk. A chair. And a sealed envelope sitting in the middle like it had been waiting for me my whole life. My name was written on it. Not in my uncle's handwriting. In my father's. My knees almost gave out. I opened it slowly. The paper inside was older than I expected, edges softened by time. And it was a confession. My father hadn't died, leaving nothing behind. He had been forced out of the inheritance by my uncle through forged paperwork. The smokehouse had been used as a hiding place for the original estate documents, sealed before everything could be erased. And then I saw the final line. "If you are reading this, it means they failed to destroy the truth. Take this to the county probate court. They will reopen the estate under inheritance fraud review." My throat tightened, because suddenly my life wasn't about being kicked out anymore. It was about being erased. Behind me, footsteps returned. This time not slow. Running. My uncle burst into the smokehouse above, shouting my name. But I didn't move. I just held the envelope tighter. "You shouldn't be here," he yelled down into the floor. And I finally understood. He wasn't afraid of me. He was afraid of records. Of paper. Of truth that doesn't forget. I climbed out slowly. And for the first time, I looked him in the eyes without shrinking. I'm going to probate court, I said. He went still. Because he knew what that meant. The next days moved fast after that. Paperwork. Stairs. Long halls filled with people who only cared about what could be proven. But I had something stronger than anger. I had documents. At the county probate court, they explained it clearly. Inheritance fraud cases could be reopened if original estate records or concealed wills were discovered. The clerk even pointed me to the official probate records archive system, a lesser-known public access database where old estate filings, land transfers, and contested wills are stored for review. That system became everything. Because once the Smokehouse documents were verified, everything my uncle built on stolen land started to collapse. Slowly. Legally. Completely. When the ruling finally came, I didn't celebrate. I just stood there, listening. The judge confirmed it. The estate had been wrongfully transferred. The land, the farmhouse, even the smokehouse itself, all restored under my father's original line of inheritance. My uncle didn't say a word when they read it out. He just looked at the floor like it had finally decided to answer him back. By the time I returned to the farm, the sky was the same color it always had been. But everything felt different. The house didn't feel like it was watching me anymore. It felt like it was waiting. I didn't move in right away. I couldn't. The smokehouse stayed closed after that day. Not because I was afraid of it, but because I finally understood what it had been. A hiding place for truth in a world that wanted it buried. And sometimes, that's all justice really is. Not loud. Not fast. Just waiting long enough for someone to finally open the door. Some people think inheritance is about land or money. But sometimes, it's just about proving you were never meant to disappear in the first place.